Hello and welcome to the 2020 LCS Spring Playoffs, where today the number 1 and 2 seeds are meeting up in the upper bracket. Gentlemen, I think we're in for a treat today, as I'm joined by Probably, Mark Z, and Zeyzal for another round of best of fives here in the LCS postseason. Gentlemen, a big matchup on the table today. What some, I think, already assume will end up being our finals matchup, but two heavy hitters on the upper side of the bracket yet to take a best of 5 loss in this series so far. Probably, are you looking forward to this one?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, I was maybe the person you were alluding to earlier. I do think this is our finals preview, so I hope we get some hype in this one and we can actually make it to all 5 games.
Yeah, well, with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket, see where all of the teams stand, because it's not just these two remaining in the postseason picture. We do have Cloud9 and Evil Geniuses, the 1-2 seed, playing today in that best of 5 in the upper bracket. Loser will jump down to the losers bracket to play the winner of FlyQuest number 4 versus TSM number 5, taking place tomorrow. The winner of that subsequent match will then have the opportunity to re-challenge Cloud9 for the ultimate title of best team in the spring season. But, gentlemen, what a split it's been so far, and in particular, when we look at this Cloud9 team, the dominance they've displayed throughout the regular split, and then in that first series is what kind of pits them as this, final boss that we're looking at. There's this expectation that they will be there. It's about finding out which team will be the ultimate challenger to them.
I mean, they are the Goliath, right? They have only lost one game the whole split. They speed run the whole split. They speed run their first round of playoffs. They are clearly the favorite no matter who they are going up against. And I just think it's exciting to see, can EG, poke some holes in their armor? Because right now they're looking pretty invincible. And I want to see if Cloud9 can drop some games. I want to see if Cloud9, is going to find these holes that EG is going to be able to show us. Because even if EG loses, if they expose some weaknesses, then teams have a chance to prepare for them in the grand finals. You have that second potential chance if you're EG and drop down to the lower bracket. And I think, with this new playoff system, it makes it maybe more of a reasonable task to try to take them down.
Yeah, and as much as, we're saying this is probably the finals, to be fair, FlyQuest and TSM can both easily take down EG, I think. The first series between FlyQuest and EG was pretty close, and that was with substitutions going on, as well as the fact that, remember, that one loss that you talked about came from TSM earlier in the regular season, so we know the peak potential of that team. So I am excited to see if this will really be the final, regardless of what happens here today.
We talk about EG perhaps having the best opportunity to take down Cloud9. Let's go ahead and take a look at how they garnered themselves that opportunity and made it to this point in the playoffs so far.
No explosive counts, disengagement. Svenskeren so low on health, goes in for the dive. Can't find it just yet. The whole team is invincible, and that is such an easy turn. 2 for 0. Dunk in the backside. Nice ult for PoE, but they followed right back in. The knockups are there. 4 kills going to be picked up, and Wild Turtle can only sit and watch as his team is gone. The chase down's gonna look good. Bang. Finally has to hit his shield as Ignar shows.
They're going in!
Flash over the wall. Wild Turtle can't survive. Ignar, one more auto takes him down as well.
Jiizuke now in trouble.
A lot of damage coming in. Arcane Shift already down. Gets dunked in the way, and that's the rest of it.
Oh, they're gonna get both!
Oh my gosh! What a play! Svenskeren turns it around, and being a 2-for-1 EG. Svenskeren's gonna spot that Herald's being attacked, and Ezreal will move first. Jiizuke a bit low on mana. That's a lot of crowd control. Svenskeren cannot get away, and this is top difference at work. Oh, Jiizuke gonna have to cut away from Santorin. He's gonna feel fairly safe if the ult, well, doesn't even have the ulti, but Dudley in the backline is set, slams him across. There are no defenders. We're going to game 4. FlyQuest strike back in game 3. Look how absurd this laning phase is. Santorin's in though. Zeyzal had Aftershock, by the way. He's gonna be fine. First blood comes through. Omni Stone is undefeated. Push back. Goes for the knockup. Goes for the kill in Jiizuke. Svenskeren against the world. Needs one more auto attack and he can't get it. But the rest of the team fight has gone pretty well. It's a 2-on-3.
Zeyzal's running past them.
Is running for the backline. Kumo's hitting Turtle. Kumo's trying to run. He's gonna flash for it. The Nexus will fall, and Evil Geniuses take the series over FlyQuest.
What an ending!
A 3-1 first round series for Evil Geniuses gets them to this point. But Zeyzal, the conversation all split long around second best team in the league was FlyQuest, was TSM, was a majority of teams other than EG themselves. So I want to talk about what leveled up in those final weeks of the regular split and in that playoff series there that now nets them the number 2 seed and the second best team in the league.
I think watching EG throughout the split was so interesting because early on they had these glaring weaknesses, right? They had these issues potentially with Jiizuke, where he was being so aggressive, but he's getting caught out. He was costing games. It was, kind of over aggression, so to speak. And, throughout the split, they have been able to maintain that level of aggression, maintain, these big plays that he's going for, and eliminate a lot of the mistakes and eliminate a lot of, the catches on him that they were getting so punished for. And this team has been getting better together week in, week out. Kumo, I think, has also shored up his defenses in the top lane quite a lot. He had been getting picked on more in those earlier weeks, and Bang has been really steady the whole split through. So it's this team that wasn't getting talked about at the earlier split, but they've gotten so much better.
Yeah, they've ramped up without a doubt to deserve and earn that second spot in the postseason. On the flip side, let's talk about Cloud9, who's been firing on all cylinders all split long, and take a look at their speed run of a best of 5 to kick off the playoffs.
Vulcan starts things off, and Zven is there following up with the damage. Blaber already level 6, looking to make the tower dive come alive. The damage goes through, the health bars shrink down rapidly. Blaber having to flash away. Zven looking to get the kills. It's one down, but here comes the artillery. But now the fight has started. Remember, Stunt still no level 6. He's not able to find that Cosmic Radiance. He cannot bring in the invulnerability, and Cloud9 now mounting the assault against 100 Thieves. Nisqy destroys Cody's son. He sends Meteos to join him, and that is a double kill over to Cloud9. Other in the map, but Meteos is able to finally grab a kill here for 100 Thieves on the top side. Nisqy looking to chase even further. Good God!
2-for-1 deal.
At the very end of the Battle Star. Buy one, get one free. Triple kill for Nisqy. Throw another one in the shopping cart just because he likes the way he makes it happen. And the Cataclysm. 100 Thieves will take that summoner spell as the true shot barrage strikes Vulcan. Drake slain by 100 Thieves. Ocean Soul prevented. TP's coming in. Licorice into the middle of 4, and that is a disastrous encounter for 100 Thieves. Stunt will be the second to fall. Ryoma's clone will join him. It's a 2-for-0.
Cloud9 definitively the top dogs in the league this split. Mark, when we look at expectation for this roster, though, coming in, it was that they would be 1-2 alongside Team Liquid. But I think even with those lofty expectations and off-season moves, they've outdone the expectation tenfold even.
Yeah, this was not in anyone's predictions. We knew they would be a good team. We didn't know that they would be one of the all-time most dominant teams we've ever seen. On top of the fact that, we talked about leveling up for EG, there was no leveling up for C9. And the fact that both these teams were kind of made from the same organization in some sense, where C9 made a number of surprising roster moves, selling away to, giving up the MVP to EG, this new upstart organization, and giving them so many powerful building blocks. It's really cool to see that both these teams made the right roster decisions in the offseason and are now sitting as the 1 and 2 seeds after all that.
Oh, how sweet it must be to be in Jack's situation, looking at his own team leading the league, right? His own team is leading the league, number one, and then the core of players that left his team just this offseason are manning, helming.
Got too many
the
MVP
second place team in the
candidates.
league.
You can't hold them all.
What am I
going
going
to do with all
on?
these?
Wait, I can't. There's too many MVPs to hold, guys. They're spilling out of my arms. Probably. I think though, what we have to recognize within all of this is that there are a couple factors of consistency around the Cloud9 organization and how they continue to produce what seems to be top tier talent. And it was announced just this week that once again, Reaper has won himself the Coach of the Split award, so deservingly so. Probably thoughts real quick though on him picking up this award.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there for all these Cloud9 victories. They've been, second most of this time, which is still a pretty high tier to get to. And even in the 2018 Worlds, they're able to go further than any North American team before, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that very true?
So doing this well for so long is starting to become a legacy coach.
Without a doubt. As he picks up yet another split or Coach of the Split award, Zeyzal, I want to talk about, this Cloud9 team and how they continue to invest in young talent and grow that talent, and how the expectation is never necessarily the way it was for maybe TL's roster this time around. Hey, you've got 5 stars, they should work. It's always about how will Reaper find a way to unlock these players. The conversation seems to go through him.
And I think it's so impressive, right? And the entire organization has been so good at scouting, at training up, new players constantly. When you look around the league at all of these guys who are considered top players, and you think about how many of them started on Cloud9, it's pretty insane, because it has been a number of years in a row now where they're making these huge roster changes. People are kind of doubting that it can still work out like the previous one did, but here we are again.
He's produced a lot of talent, but he's still looking for that LCS title. Let's hear from the big brain himself and hand it over to Avli for an interview.
I am here with the 2020 Spring Split Coach of the Split. We have Cloud9's Coach Reaper. Congratulations on taking the award. And I mean, it was pretty well deserved for you. You led Cloud9 17-1 through the regular season, and moving into playoffs, you're still undefeated. Now, I want to backtrack just a little bit, because this is your 4th time winning this award. And in the past, you've been praised for developing rookie talent and, putting together these new teams. But this was the split that you had a roster of seasoned players, with Blaber having a couple splits under his belt and Zven joining the roster. So tell me what it was like to coach this Cloud9 compared to previous iterations.
This Cloud9 is much easier to coach than previous one, because they are taking really serious about the feedbacks or themselves and practice. So it's much easier to me and much smoother, I guess. And in generally, they are outstanding every other players in the LCS right now. So, they are making my job easier.
Was there maybe one player in particular that you really helped develop and grow over this split, or was it really just this team effort?
I'd like to say it's a team effort, but it's not on me, but Vulcan. I personally think Vulcan has been improved a lot in this season compared to like before, even last year was.
Yeah, and I mean, Vulcan is a player that thankfully a lot of more eyes were drawn to him this split. I know he's kind of floated under the radar, but I've really enjoyed watching him develop over the split. When you put together this roster, did you think that it was going to be as successful as they were in this spring split?
Yeah, I'd like to say I was thought about it like this roster probably is successful in here, but I didn't think about like 17-1 or regular season, the rank 1, something like that. I was thought like, yeah, we could finish it at the top 3, and then probably we can contest the championship, that kind of things.
What's your secret as a coach, man? Tell us how you're doing it. Successful Cloud9 after successful Cloud9.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I do my job and they are improved. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, okay.
There's not much a secret,
Okay. Well, I mean, something that's also interesting that you've done is not only have you been coaching players, but it seems like you've also been coaching coaches. I know that Rapid Star you've helped develop, a Reignover you've helped develop. So can you tell me anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, they are my coworkers. So, if I see something went wrong or we are not the same page, I generally talk with them, like Westrise, Reignover, and Rapid Star. Doesn't really matter who it is. Just talk to them and develop our coaching process together. And then, at the end of the day, I'm the guy decide our directions about the team or about the coaching staff or players as well. So they are in generally try hard to getting same page as me. And then, that works well, I guess.
And then really fast, you want to continue that success into playoffs. Your next opponent is going to be Evil Geniuses, who look pretty good against FlyQuest in playoffs so far. They actually have a team where you have coached 3 of their players. So do you feel like going into that match, you kind of have a good read on the team?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't thinking they looked that good at the playoffs game versus who was it? Like FlyQuest? No, they looks not that good.
Oh, did
And yeah, I had a pretty good read about them, and then I'm pretty excited about play against my old former teammates. It's gonna be pretty good game.
Awesome. Well, wishing you and the team the best of luck moving into that game. Thank you so much for taking the time to do the interview. That's it for us here. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Avli. A lot of confidence coming out of the coach of the split there, having coached 8 of the 10 players that will be on the stage today, gentlemen. But we are narrowing in towards game time, and I want to get those predictions up on the board so that the fans at home know what the analysts expect to see happen. And it's 3 O's across the board.
There you
for
go.
Cloud9 here. That is the expectation out of all of these guys. With that, we're tossing over to the casters.
In
Get
a
ourselves
split
into Evil Geniuses
where
versus
nothing
Cloud9.
has really gone the way people expected it to, why would playoffs go as expected? Coming into the 2020 season, everyone still thought Team Liquid would be the best team.
And they are the best team North America has ever produced.
But they're kind of stuck, and everyone's waiting for them to be good. Meanwhile, Cloud9 is absolutely dominating.
For how powerful the ability is.
Tied for the best regular split record in LCS history.
Licorice, he's looking to do body slam here.
There was this revolving door of teams. Any of these 5 teams can make a move for second. And then there's a global health pandemic, and everything shuts down. No one really knows what's going to happen to the LCS. No one really knows what's going to happen. 2 weeks after that, the LCS can return online. Teams playing online, casters casting from their homes online, and again, no one really knows how it's going to feel. But you do know it's going to be LCS. As we roll into week 9, all the stories were there. Cloud9 had the opportunity to end Team Liquid's streak
Vulcan and Zven are going for a back door.
by denying them playoffs.
Revenge is coming through, and Cloud9 will shut down Team Liquid.
Golden Guardians, people had them as the worst team in the league, and now they're going to playoffs after winning 3 games in a row.
That is a solo kill right there.
TSM beat C9. Everyone's wondering if they're going to emerge as the true contender.
Yerson assassinates the backline.
We end up getting a 3-way tie for second between FlyQuest,
Nice charm of the coach is on. Power of evil.
100 Thieves,
Sanjay picks up the Quadra.
and EG actually ends as the second place team.
Jiizuke's got a triple. Make it even more.
Cloud9 is an absolute behemoth.
Blaber goes in.
And for the first time in a long time, they go in as prohibitive favorites.
Combo, there's your combo.
But if LCS has taught us anything, and if this split has taught us anything, it's that you never really know
On Nisqy.
what's going to happen next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the LCS 2020 Spring Playoffs. We've got our number 1 seed in Cloud9 facing off against the number 2 seed Evil Geniuses in the winner bracket finals. My name is David Freak Turley, joined over there by Joshua Jat Leisman.
And I'm excited for this series, mainly because I want to see if anyone can actually step up and challenge Cloud9. We know that they have had tied for the most dominant regular season split ever, and if they could actually find a way to sweep through the playoffs by 3-0ing every single opponent, I would say that would actually make them the best NA team ever in terms of a single split performance. But we know their former players are actually on the other side in Evil Geniuses right now, and that would be a whole bunch of revenge if they were able to take down Cloud9 here.
Definitely be really excited to see how that one goes out. Of course, we heard from Coach the Split Reaper on Cloud9 say, look, I had a pretty good feeling on how Evil Geniuses would play. I watched them play the previous week. it went like I expected. I'm really confident here. I think I can definitely beat my old teammates here and coach this team to victory. I mean, it's a Cloud9 championship, 6 years in the making. Their last title was back in 2014. Ever since then, it's been trials and tribulations. But yeah, 17-1 regular season. They look just the most dominant, one of the most dominant teams we've ever had. And as Champ Select starts, we get the pretty standard Senna, Aphelios banned away, Kalista opheal by Cloud9. We've known it's a flex pick for them, but they don't want Bang to get it.
Yeah, no big surprises as of yet in the ban phase. The LeBlanc ban is something I had my eyes on to take away from Jiizuke. That's been banned in 70% of EG games against them. One noticeably missing ban right now is Syndra. It actually hasn't been a hugely prioritized champ by either team, but Cloud9 has actually played it twice bot, and they're just going to completely leave it up for now.
Okay, they say, hey, the most prized bot laner here is Varus. Interestingly enough, worldwide, Misfortune tends to still be a bit more prized, but as far as the matchup's concerned, they're putting Zven on Varus, one he's played a lot of before, a champ that can kind of steal away from Bang there as well. But it does mean, we talk about popular champions for these teams, Svenskeren's Gragas was huge in their win last week as well, so getting to play that again, definitely going to be a power spike for EG.
Yeah, it's, in terms of jungle champion pool, it's no surprise these two guys used to be teammates. They actually share a fairly common view on what jungle is. They're both amazing Gragases. They're both excellent Lee Sins. So unless we see some type of new stuff from Blaber, he did pull out a Nocturne jungle last week. More likely, though, is we'll probably see a Lee Sin from Blaber on Cloud9's side.
Seems the most likely. They're hovering the Pantheon. We might see that one come out as well as a highly prized jungler. Aatrox insta-locked as the answer to Ornn, and right in the bot lane, the Tahm Kench comes through to complement Zven down there, and that means we're going to wait and see the jungle and mid of Cloud9 later on.
This is actually very interesting. Most of the time within the first phase of picks, you'll see the roles at least matched, but that's definitely not what we're seeing here with the Gragas already locked in and no jungler for Cloud9. And if EG... the MF is something that they're probably likely to lock in here, just so they don't get completely starved in the 80 carry pool.
Okay, it means we end up matching a little bit here on roles. They both got an 80 carry, they both got a top laner, but as you mentioned, a mismatched jungler versus support. Now, for those of you watching on ESPN, you are heading to a commercial break. We'll catch you when the game starts. For those of you watching online, of course, it's just you and us. We are together again. Woo! And that means we get to cast like we would have otherwise. There's actually no difference anyway. But we are in the second phase of bans, and we saw the hover, right? We saw that Pantheon hover. EG kind of saying, hey, we know this is your next prize jungle pickup. Pantheon banned off.
I mean, I do find it interesting how Cloud9 was more likely to prioritize top lane and bot lane than a jungle pick. The jungle pool has been very large, but Blaber is a player who, if you think about where Cloud9 has done most of their experimentation and pick ban, it hasn't been in the jungle. It's basically just been, for the most part, the Lee Sin and the Gragas show for him. But I mean, if they're still banning out solo lane potential, so it's very easy for him to fall back on Cloud9, and it seems like it was the correct choice for C9 to do what they did.
LEG gonna probably, most likely, save counter pick for Jiizuke in the mid lane. An absurdly aggressive player, tops the charts in First Bloods. He absolutely demolishes early game in a PvP sense. That said, Cloud9 as a team demolish other teams in the early game. I'm very curious to see how that matchup can stack up individually. We're seeing the Echo ban come through. We've often seen that champ as a counterpick to the Syndra, a champ you had mentioned earlier on, despite not being incredibly popular for these two teams. Probably still a decent pick.
Yeah, I mean, you can really see where they're trying to target their bans right now, right? The Nautilus is a very common pairing with Misfortune. They had 2 opportunities to ban it away. They don't care about that. They just care that Jiizuke doesn't get going. And if we think about the actual way that EG would be able to win this game is if they can somehow unlock Jiizuke. So banning out as many powerful mid laners as they can, and it completely sets up the Syndra pick. It's completely telegraphed, but it's also, you have to wonder if EG can do anything about it. And the Nocturne.
Oh, I like this. The Nocturne is in there as well. And I mean, end of the day, right? It's you've got to blind pick something. Syndra is one of the safer picks that get rid of his 2 most common assassins in the Kiana and Echo and say, okay, show us a third. We know LeBlanc's already gone here as well. And I am curious if Jiizuke does have a Vulcan matchup. Does he have a spicy matchup? Because keep in mind, Blaber here is on the Nocturne, which means you're not going to have a ton of early pressure against it. And where is he going to go with this one? He goes for Yasuo. There is room for early playmaking here, but also scaling.
Yeah, and the Yasuo is going to be able to play a little bit more aggressive early if he has the Gragas pressure and also has that immense kill pressure at level 6. So that is one of the best picks you can do into Syndra. It's just extremely volatile because if you do start falling behind, if you're unable to start contesting the wave, it can go downhill very quickly. And from the looks of it, this is also Jiizuke's first Yasuo play of the split, so definitely getting pushed down a fair bit on his champion pool from the split.
Either way, though, Yasuo Gragas, a well-known duo, can have a lot of pressure, and Nocturne typically not that strong super early. So we'll see if that sort of mid-lane pressure, we really do think mid-lane is going to be the primary focus here for an EG win condition, at least early through mid-game, and then him splitting off on the side could look very good down the line. Yasuo Gragas, again, great combo. We don't expect a ton of early pressure from Blaber on the Nocturne. Gragas probably can punish some of that early game weakness, so I really want to see what that turns into. I would love to see Jiizuke really pop off, but it is going to be a difficult effort. If Cloud9's on today, if they're playing at their level, it's going to be a tough fight for EG.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what the analyst desk predicted. Everyone is predicting a sweep. It is what we've seen. C9 is 20-1 when you combine their first round of playoffs with their regular season record. But if you think about the possible ways that EG could win, which is what kind of all I've thought about for the past week, because you're trying to figure out if there's going to be drama here, and it would be if they can make it to the 15-minute mark with even gold against Cloud9. Cloud9 has had the best first 15 minutes of basically any LCS team ever, which does make me a little curious for this Nocturne pick, because for the first 6 levels, he's not really able to apply a huge amount of pressure. He's mostly just looking to farm and counter jungle. So while we'll definitely have eyes in the mid lane, I'm definitely tracking what Blaber does early on Nocturne.
Well, the teams are loading onto the Rift, so let's take a look at the starting lineups. Hello and welcome to Summoner's Rift. It's game 1 of the winner bracket final. Cloud9 went 17-1 in the regular season, tied for the best LCS record of all time. Evil Geniuses snuck in at the number 2 seed off of a tiebreaker day. A reasonably convincing win in their first round bracket, and this is a match to determine who is the first team to make it to the LCS 2020 Spring Finals. Cloud9 in blue, EG in red, best of 5 to determine who's going to make it here. As we have a pretty standard opening, the line of scrimmage as we call it, is Blaber sees Svenskeren, and no one's getting an invade on.
Yeah, and additionally, this is extremely interesting just because Svenskeren was on Cloud9 last year, actually won MVP, and then 3 members of that Cloud9 team moved over to EG to eventually climb to be the second best team. But here we go, Kumo and Svenskeren walk in, and no one really wants to fight because total knowledge doesn't exist, and neither team had the whole squad there.
At the end of the day, no one gets any little bit of chip damage down. Sometimes that can matter a little bit. The damage can stick and make your landing phase the slightest bit easier, but in this case, no harm, no foul. Late invade comes through for Vulcan, Blaber, and Zven as they want to see if they can stop Gragas starting at blue buff. Would like to get the blue for his first camp, and yeah, C9 gotta pretty much dedicate to this. If they don't turn around really soon, like they can miss some XP, and ooh, this is very interesting. Gragas gonna do a safe start at Wolves, but it means Blaber can go for the blue steal, and realistically, not sure EG can stop this one, keeping the attack going. You can see the Gragas not going anywhere nearby as well. No one's gonna miss XP and gold, but blue will indeed be stolen here.
Yeah, no one really wanted the tango with the Tahm Kench early game or the lethal tempo Varus, who likely would have been able to outtrade that if we ended up seeing the actual fight. I don't think it has a huge impact depending on what happens next, since whatever camp you clear first still gives you level 2, and the Gragas can also go for a fairly early recall either way. I've even seen Svenskeren, when he's playing other champions like Pantheon, actually start Wolves just by choice, but it does give early game knowledge to C9, and it limits the options that Svenskeren has in terms of early ganks, which I think is pretty crucial, knowing that the Nocturne does mostly want to wait until level 6.
And mentioning early ganks, we saw one cool thing from Licorice as well. He put a trinket ward down above the Krug camp, and with Svenskeren obviously not being able to take blue, and his Krugs being warded, he's going to be on vision pretty early on, and they'll be able to track, okay, he's got 16 or 12 CS coming in here. We know exactly which 3 camps he did. He's now topside. Okay, this information is known. Licorice now knows he needs to play around being ganked topside. For now, though, he knows he has time to shove this one in, and as soon as that Gragas walks to the left, he knows to play passively.
Yeah, and the real indicator of what's happening is more so what C9 lanes are doing, not necessarily that the Gragas is going to be put behind the Nocturne. Because in terms of farming pace, both junglers have taken 4 camps, but the fact that the bottom lane is able to push in, they can do this because they know Svenskeren would have pathed topside after starting blue, and it allows them more freedom to play aggressively.
You might see the first recall come through from the mid lane before too terribly long. Nisqy shoves in the next mid lane wave and walks down to the bottom side to help make sure that scuttle is safely controlled. Puts a trinket down as well, but the mana pool is getting a bit limited, and that can make the laning phase a bit tough. Jiizuke has plenty of farm to catch, gonna go against the play, but keep in mind Blaber is nearby. Jiizuke just jumps back to the minion wave and stays safe. Svenskeren nearby as well. Gonna spell shield that knock up and a stun to disengage.
Gotta watch out a little bit. There's a lot of burst on Gragas. So Svenskeren was daring a flash there, but Nisqy knew he had barrier the whole time. Very defensive summoner spell choice on the Syndra, so Svenskeren didn't fall for the bait, and both people just kind of back away.
Now Blaber and Zven gonna fight over this Scuttle Crab. Now with a level lead, Blaber almost always wins, and does indeed. 507 knows an auto plus smite is enough to kill it off, and Svenskeren never really had an actual chance of taking that one away. So well done to Blaber there, gets that, and yes, for now he is technically up 2 camps. Some of that is, of course, waiting for more farm, as both junglers have camps respawning, waiting to get some more gold picked up. The bot gets to be so incredibly aggressive. First turret plate taken, and it heads up 2-on-2 early on.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing the early prioritization from draft on Varus, Tahm, Kench paying off a little bit from C9 here with how strong they've been able to duo lane, and then also just the decision-making from Blaber, and I'm continually impressed with the way C9 can play these Nocturne early games, because they haven't allowed Gragas to apply any early pressure. Blaber was there, the one spot Svenskeren would want to go to, and they were able to get double Scuttle Crabs because their bottom lane and top lane were pushed, and because they got some deep wards into Krug. So just really well done early on to get Blaber to level 5 so effortlessly. And now getting that recall with Challenging Smite, he'll probably hit 6 very soon, probably around 6 minutes or 6:20, depending on how much experience he was able to grab from the lane. And then they're going to be off to the races.
Yeah, in the meantime, pretty much every single lane looks amazing. Top continually has pushed. You're getting Licorice able to take essentially a greedy recall, a recall where he doesn't have to TP to get back to the lane. Gets a Cole there as well. If you're talking about greedy items, he's going to actually have extra money and lifesteal for an even funner mid game there. And we already saw bot lane was up in farm, still are, with more minions to kill, and they got that first plate. Also getting their own recall off with good timing as well, right? Extra mana into that scepter. So kind of already across the board, Cloud9, without a single kill or major objective on the map, have a 300 to 400 gold lead. The recalls have already come through for, the first early laning phase item spikes, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, they just have to watch out a little bit about this top lane moment for Licorice, because Svenskeren has his Predator up and is kind of snuck into the brush. Meanwhile, fight mid.
Ulti burn, Jiizuke puts Nisqy at half HP, blocks the stun in the queue, but he might still get feared up, gets back towards the minions. Ultis come in, and there's just way too much damage. 6 minutes in, a level 6 Nocturne and a first blood in mid lane.
One gank works, one gank doesn't. The top lane burned Gragas ult and also Licorice's flash, but now, since Blaber won the fight, he can move into river.
And he's going to force EG to start flashing away. Zeyzal has to burn the flash. Flash used by Vulcan to get away from some of that as well, so it's an equal trade of Summoners down there, but it's still map control to Cloud9 with a pretty solid 1,500 gold.
Oh man, they just keep demolishing teams in the early game. Their average at 15 minutes is almost 3,000 gold, which is basically unheard of in pro play. Watching this fight one more time, this is one of the reasons the lane is so volatile. Jiizuke hits 6 first, and he kind of needs to go in to get this wave shoved. Oftentimes, it does require the Gragas to be right there next to him. He's not, Blaber is. I think Blaber was actually kind of expecting the Gragas to be near him and at least have it be a bit of a close fight, but he wasn't, and they easily take that kill.
You mentioned defensive summoner spells from Nisqy with the barrier in there. Also with a slightly more defensive Keystone and Phase Rush to maybe outrun the Yasuo once in a while. We often can see Electrocute, right, for the more burst damage, but that's really not his goal here. It's kiting the melee champion. Obviously makes sense for the matchup, but worth pointing out that that was a choice made in champ select based on matchup, and so far, paying dividends as far as we can tell. He's not really been hurting for damage.
Yeah, and Svenskeren, I feel like, is going to feel pressed to make a play here. He does have ult. Jiizuke has ult again. Wherever he moves next is likely where he's going to go for a play, and it's probably bot lane now that they've gotten Tahm Kench stuff out. But, I mean, look at the positioning of them. They're actually pretty safe.
Jiizuke going to be in a fight 2-on-1. A lot of damage over there. The spell shield.
Oh my god.
Blaber! You gotta be kidding me! Gets a kill 1v2. Flash to the wall of safety. Svenskeren's still around, though. He might. No, he can't find the way in. Wait, no, he's on a ward. This could be a kill. He's going to try to run away. The body slam is just going to kill him. There's like one picked up. Zven gets his own to the bottom side. Zeyzal flashless from before, but Cloud9 still got a 2-for-1 lead.
You do not expect the Gragas Yasuo combo to be used in a 2v1 and lose. That's you just don't see that. But here you can see, because he has Warrior, because he has Challenging Smite, because he has Lethal Tempo on top of his Q, he just gets to slap the Yasuo to death before his burst ends up finishing him off. Spell Shield definitely blocked. I didn't see exactly what it blocked, but it would have been a fairly critical spell, and because that fight happened, it just gave C9 numbers advantage in the river. So sure, they trade 1-for-1 in the Nocturne versus Gragas Yasuo, but they trade up in the river and just get more pressure, and now almost a 2,000 gold lead by 9 minutes.
All right, well, he said the average is 3,000 another 6 minutes from now. Might grow actually beyond that one. Kumo is going to be sucked back in. However, with Svenskeren nearby, Licorice can't really go for this fight. It's a pretty alone 1 versus 1. There's not been a lot of jungle attention, and it's a pretty massive lead already to Licorice. Kumo just goes on Ornn duty. I think it's totally fine. I think it makes sense when you are against the best top laner in the league, and Kumo arguably the worst performing top laner in the league. You give him a tank, you say, hey, I'll see you in team fights, buddy. Good luck in the one-on-one. I think this matchup's kind of going par for the course based on player skill.
Yeah, I mean, I think that EG is making the correct choice to have Kumo on Ornn. He can play weak side, he can play utility, and he can still make contributions in team fights, and it's all about whether or not Svenskeren can get himself or Jiizuke going. In most Cloud9 games, they have almost complete and total control of the Rift Herald, which they're moving towards now. And EG might look to contest this. Svenskeren has his jungle item up, and if they find the right angle, they could fight, but yeah, they don't want to have a disaster go. Here comes Svenskeren.
And Bang's rolling up as well, so that's going to be a little bit early. That's going to be Smite claimed easily. Pull back into Vulcan. Will he be the target? Not just yet. Knocking over the top right now. Giant knockup means here comes Yasuo there as well. Ornn sounds the horn. Licorice gets one on the board. Jiizuke's running out of health. 2-for-1 so far. Double go for the Cloud9 top laner, but Vulcan will be traded back. It's 2-for-2. Blabber still in the wings. Looks for Bang. Will not get the Fury. He has to run away. Svenskeren pops a stopwatch. Easy knockup. Licorice with the triple. And Nisqy looks like he wants to chase. If he has to stun up soon, won't quite be able to set up Kumo, but still another fight going Cloud9's way. 3-1 plus the Rift Herald.
And they had the proper setup. It just goes to show you as well how difficult it is to fight in the river against darkness. Never being able to see what your teammates are exactly doing. And whenever you have a team actually win a Rift Herald fight after taking the Rift Herald, that's when the game really starts to blow open, because they get to use a top lane. A little bit of, you know, maybe impatience, Blaber wanting to get his trinket back right away, get the immediate cash in, because a lot of times you'll see a gank happen first and then the Rift Herald usage. They're unable to actually break that top turret with first Rift, but they do get the gold from the plates.
Yeah, still +1 kill, 3-2 in that fight. Nice knockback by Nisqy, prevents Jiizuke from doing anything. I personally really don't mind the almost instant Herald. It's like, hey,
I think it's
open
fine.
lane, guarantee 2 plates. I actually just like that you can cash in instantly. You guarantee you don't get the downside of like failing to find another window later on. End of the day, you know, whatever. Yeah, maybe you find small optimizations, you know, down the line, but uncertain information, can't always guarantee it's perfect. Regardless, Vulcan goes for the play. Oh, that could have been big, but he was slightly out of range. The flash knockup, and it's just Summoner Spell down. Cloud9 gonna claim an easy drink.
Oh no.
Re-engage on mid. Svenskeren tries a lot of damage. That's a flash, but Nisqy's still gonna fall. It's a 1-for-1. That's what it could look like if the flash had landed. Still a 4v4 on the map. Double knockup again for Licorice. Drake picked up 1-for-1.
Licorice was in exactly the right place for that play. And I think EG is actually fairly fortunate to walk out of that one with a 1-for-1. Overall, like Gragas Yasuo is such a deadly combo that it is basically a kill every time you can just get a 2v1 because the CC is so reliable. But the fact that Jiizuke missed his flash there, just a huge disappointment. But because Licorice was there and they knew Jiizuke was flashless, it did give Nisqy a bit of a sense of confidence to move up. Still, with how many resources EG used, knowing that C9 was also just devoting resources down towards Drake, it's an Infernal Drake in hand for C9. It's a flash down for Jiizuke, and it is just yet more gold onto Licorice's Aatrox.
Yeah, 4-0 on the top laner. Oh gosh, Licorice is gonna be taking over this game, and I gotta feel bad for Bang, who's been, you know, laning okay enough. Yeah, down a little bit. They lost a plate early on and whatnot, but I don't know how you exactly peel the 4-kill Aatrox, who's ahead on items, or ahead on cooldown reduction, ahead on movement speed, ahead on levels. Like, he's just gonna kill you. You're just gonna die in the backline if he walks at you. MF does not have good self-healing tools, so just kind of good luck dealing with that. We'll see what it looks like the next team fight. EG are keeping it close in kills, but the game just doesn't feel very close. They're getting kills when Cloud9 are getting more, or at least an equal amount, in every single fight.
Right, and EG is in a point where they kind of have to scatter a little bit and look for unpredictable plays in order to get back in this game. The big picture thought for this team would be to be able to get Yasuo into side lanes, but for now, I mean, C9 is actually just turret diving. Not a good play.
Yeah, it's a bit aggressive by Vulcan. I'm not sure Blaber has the damage. He spell shields, nice. Sniped by Zven. It's 1-for-1 out of the turret, and yet again, Blaber gets sit here and wave clear, takes some damage from Zeyzal. Generally speaking, that pass is pretty good. And
well, this is close.
Yeah,
need the mini wave.
The turret. Nice snipe again comes through. I'm not sure Zeyzal wins the stopwatch. You gotta check the items. Blaber, the tab screen is there for your own purposes. It's a 2-for-1. EG win the tower dive.
Well, not only that, I mean, Zven is the one who had a full health bar and a flash up if you need someone to tank turret shots. I think Blaber knew he was dead to rights since Jiizuke was already roaming down towards the river. That's potentially a really big play in this game because EG just needs to keep this gold a little bit close until they can get some items on Jiizuke, because in a world where EG can potentially come back in this game, it's because Jiizuke would be unmatched in a side lane against the Syndra. That point obviously hasn't happened yet because Jiizuke has had a fairly poor early game. But yeah, EG needs to be able to have Jiizuke command multiple people in a side lane, and they need to buy time until that happens while still being able to get picks wherever Svenskeren goes. Svenskeren does have the gold, and that Gragas Yasuo combo still might pack enough punch to take some people down, and failed dives like that do help buy some time for EG.
And you got to point out, Cloud9 haven't yet had the option of building defensive stats on Nisqy just yet, right? He's on barrier. He's got the stopwatch. I mean, that's not too bad. He actually bought that outright. You look at his runes, know he got that one for free. He did spend the gold to divert that way to maybe dodge a Gragas ulti or a body slam or something, but there's no arm guard, there's no bonus health outside of Doran's rings, and he's still waiting to finish Luden's Echo, so it's going to be a while till he gets something like that, and that means he will remain squishy in the side lane. It will mean that a burst combo will pretty much land true unless he does the stopwatch outplay, so, you know, you may see that come through. Of course, right now Nisqy's staying in mid, right? He's not in those elongated side lanes where he can be chased down, so they may just not find the opening.
Yeah, and things we really need to watch for with Ocean Drake coming up in 50 seconds is the wind wall usage from Jiizuke in this team fight, whether or not it can block like a Varus ultimate or a Syndra ultimate, and also really watch how snappy the EG engage is, because if they could actually start a fight and burst someone before Vulcan can devour them for a save, that's a window with which they can win. And the final thing from C9's side that you'd want to pay attention to is whether or not Licorice is involved in the fight, because he's actually holding the lion's share of the C9 gold, and he needs to be a big part of any team fight that they take.
All right, well, watch out for the movement around the map. We're 15, now 12 seconds till the Ocean Drake spawns. Feels like Cloud9 would like to go for that one. Licorice has just enough time to recall and then instantly TP to be there for the fight. We'll see if he does it. Shouldn't need to go back topside with that wave pushed in. Gets health back, picks up the full Death Stance.
Perfect.
Teleport. Here's the play right now. Kumo cannot join till the near side is over. No way out for the Nocturne, or sorry, for the Nautilus. That's a 1-0 on a Zeyzal. Licorice zones out the rest of the squad, and just like clockwork, Cloud9 are there on time, and the Drake is easy.
And Freak, that was perfect. We talked about the things that EG would need to do to set up. They did none of those. They weren't snappy with an engage. They didn't have vision control. They didn't have wind wall placement, anything. As soon as Licorice recalled, the paranoia came in. So EG might not have even seen that teleport as Licorice had completed his second core item. So now they can just walk around the map and bully and maybe even take this outer mid turret.
They've already taken 2 turrets. Third one to be here in the mid lane. Licorice looks for the dive. Can't quite find it. Jiizuke now has a knockup next Q. He's going to get that one with the ulti there as well. Half health to Licorice. Gets a giant heal. Kites right back out, but has to worry about the rest of the damage coming in. 3 knockups come in. Explosive cast can't quite find the openers, though, as Blaber comes a stopwatch and walks away. A blue buff steal is the end result as Svenskeren has to run and goes down. Blaber snipes over the wall with the Q, and now the re-engage. Vulcan going to spit Nisqy to safety. It's going to be eventually a 5v4, though, but Vulcan is a bit alone. Set to the wolves, finally the flashes away. Blaber looks for a fear, can get that one, but again has to disengage. EG has enough backline to push back Cloud9. It will just be the 1-for-0. The re-engage won't find anything.
Oh, Svenskeren, man, what are you doing? They were all locked up from the Ornn in the bullet time, and Svenskeren just knocks him out of it with his Gragas ultimate, and then he just gets destroyed from over the wall with his flash up. So a really unfortunate series of events for Svenskeren there. It looked like C9 was funneled into a bit of a choke point where maybe EG would be able to find a fight, but they end up getting absolutely nothing out of that. Licorice cleans their jungle and shoves another wave to make himself even richer, and C9 they're running away with this game.
Yeah, they absolutely are. 5,000 gold lead, 19 minutes in, is nearly insurmountable. It's going to require a lot of hard work for Evil Geniuses to get back into this one. But this is the way that C9 went 17-1. Every single game looked like this one. They won basically all of them. Now a fight in the top side. By the way, 1v1, jungle versus mid lane, down a level or 2. Doesn't matter. Blaber's too far ahead.
And right there is why the Nocturne pick can be extremely effective against EG. Jiizuke can't split push when a Nocturne's on the loose once he's behind. Blaber is actually just stronger than Jiizuke's Yasuo 1v1, so it's pretty hopeless for EG in those situations.
Yeah, a couple of small things you could point out is Jiizuke's Phantom Dancer was still on cooldown, so missed the shield there. Maybe Exhaust would have made a difference. There's like small things you could point out and say, hey, but what about next time? I don't think next time is any better. Even with those things up, it's probably still just as lopsided. So the EG win condition is definitely running out of steam here. Yeah, you mentioned side laning, you mentioned all that. Yeah, half of Cloud9 can win that side lane fight. This is going to be tough.
Yeah, and one thing that's differentiated C9 from every other team in the LCS is also how they're able to use these leads. They don't sit on 3,000 gold leads for 10 minutes. They turn that 3,000 gold lead into yet another opportunity. So every time they get another big item power spike, they generally make a play around that power. So Zven just completed Rage Blade with Blade of the Ruin King, meaning their Baron Shred is going to be incredibly fast. So basically the next time Nocturne ultimate is up, I'm expecting them to go for a pick, and they can maybe convert that to a very fast Baron. Also note the Rift Herald is there for Blaber, so they can break maybe even an inner turret if they want to go for more, but if they want to do the quick conservative one, they just drop the Herald here and let that charge finish off that turret.
All right, well, they still got about 3 minutes left to choose when they want to put that one down. Maybe they wait till it's synced up with the Cloud Rig. Maybe they get it with just the pure pushing. Yep, there's the drop. All right, it's in the mid lane. Once again, Licorice battling Kumo on the top side. Equal level, but not equal in gold whatsoever. No chance this turret lives. It is always going to die. Will they save Shelly's health? Yes, they will, actually. Doesn't hurt himself. The turret's already dead. So mid-tier 2 is the target.
Die.
And this could well drop. Nocturne goes to the back line. Partial dive at least. Blaber gonna be spit back out to safety, but Licorice is there, and Svenskeren now has to slash it away. Big group comes in onto Bang, and means he's gonna pop the bullet time to keep the disengage. And now Cloud9 say, okay, well, we got 2 turrets mid lane, we force a couple ultis out, we take a couple of jungle camps, that's good enough for us.
Yeah, pretty good timing on that engage as well, knowing that the Rift Herald charge was gonna invalidate the turret and that Blaber wouldn't be stuck behind, but good look! Oh, just Svenskeren having an off game.
Would have liked to pull back Vulcan. Now here comes the re-engage. Kumo's going to be around. Pops the ulti, finds a slow. Looks for Nisqy, doesn't find that knockup. Already Licorice picks up one. Blaber's got to run away. But Bang is here and picks up 2 for himself. This fight's continuing. Still looking pretty decent though for Cloud9 as Bang is going to be dropped. Easy kill there. 3 versus 2 now on the map. Vulcan gonna ult forward to find some more slows. Doesn't catch the first. Licorice can't get the chains either, but Kumo might not have a way out. Actually, though, he still does. Cloud9 win the fight by +1, and they stretch the gold lead to over 6,000.
Yeah, Kumo dodged about 3 skill shots at the very end of that fight, but EG still trying to find good looks. Svenskeren is just having a really off game on this Gragas here, even with the missed Gragas ult. They still trade 2 for 3, which honestly isn't that disastrous considering the context. Considering they're down 6,000 gold to C9, that's a decent trade. They burned some crucial flashes knowing they got Zven and Nisqy's flash down, but overall, C9 is still going to take it because they are the ones that actually won the fight. They actually extended the gold to 7,000, and they're now 1 off of Cloud9.
Yeah, it's so interesting looking at that, right? Because, you know, in absolute terms, Cloud9 comes out ahead here. Plus the kill, plus the Drake. Watch that fight again. Even though Svenskeren, you know, nice attempts there, flash for flash. Cask a little off, but yeah, they still do okay.
Yeah, good spacing by C9 at the start. Nisqy actually, the flash forward puts him in vulnerable spot. I mean, think of all the stuff that EG actually missed this fight. They missed the Gragas ult, they missed the Ornn ult, and Jiizuke is able to dive in and put in a large amount of damage after Bang flashes. So, like, better than you expect for EG, but potentially too little too late.
Yeah, it's really interesting talking about the idea, because I know you were talking around it as well, and I feel the same way, where, look, in absolute terms, Cloud9 got ahead. They got an extra kill, they got third Drake, like, that is clearly, you know, plus win percentage for them. But when you're down 7,000 and the fight was close-ish, you're like, huh, maybe we can do it next time.
Yeah.
Like, it almost gives you confidence, even though you fell further behind, you're like, but it was bad last time and it was close. If we play better, maybe we win even though we're still this far behind.
Yeah, also, there is a monster in Licorice right now, 600 Aatrox.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the insurance over there for C9 with his flash and ult up. So even though EG has a chance of starting the fight by instantly killing Nisqy or Zven, Licorice is still going to exist. Here's another fight, though.
Here comes the double knockup. Explosive cast brings in Zven, but no Yasuo follow through. So Svenskeren's going to die, and Kumo wildly misses his second Ornn ultimate in a row. Triple knockup out of the Yasuo. He's going to try to deal the damage, but Jiizuke just cannot make it happen. A double kill in for Blaber. Here comes kill number 4, and Kumo can only run away. Flashes the wall. Nisqy finds the slow. They'll let him get out. They don't care. Baron's more important. Cloud9 4 for 0. Nothing like the last fight, and they will absolutely claim Baron afterwards.
That'll probably do it, Freak. This is now, after this Baron, going to be a 10,000 gold lead. That was a fight where Licorice's Aatrox found pretty clean access to EG's backline, so it was a fight where C9 didn't start it on the defensive, and yeah, they just completely steamrolled EG.
It's one of those go next moments, but watch that fight yet again. I feel bad that we've missed so many Ornn ultimates in a row. It was a decent engage as well, right? Great knockups, but no follow-up.
I mean, feel bad for Kumo, feel bad for Svenskeren. He gets completely CC locked, and yeah, that Ornn ultimate missed badly to the right, even though there was a big swath of C9 players right in the middle of the screen right there. So would have helped. Maybe you could say that would have been enough damage to kill Blaber, but it probably wouldn't have changed the ultimate outcome of the fight.
Yeah, I do want to point out that the Nocturne near side actually prevented Jiizuke from ulting onto Svenskeren's target. He brought Zven into range, but there was no way for the Yasuo to see it. That would have been Zven probably instantly killed. I think he probably dies before he can pop stopwatch, and maybe that fight looks a little bit different then. But it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it makes the Ornn ultimates way harder as well to land. And this game could end in a second, so I'll hold my point. C9's probably looking to dive again if they find the right look.
All right, right now to the bottom, inhibitor turret. A lot of health bars in front. The tanks are there. Blaber has Guardian Angel just as the insurance that he doesn't get dropped down too easily. Svenskeren has to jump away, but the turret's already gone. So now open inhibitor. Only 26 minutes in. Pretty standard Cloud9 stuff to take the game over this easily. Now, once again, looking at the play, no knockup for Jiizuke. Only hits some minions. Licorice holding to the front line. Blaber waiting for his ulti target. They've got some wards, they've got the vision. Here comes the Ornn. Here comes the play. They will for the knockup onto Zven, and a lockup on a Licorice. They're going to try, but he's so incredibly tanky. There comes the dive on the back line. They're going to put their faces together, and it's a Guardian Angel pot. Jiizuke low, bang, finds one, and they might find a bit more. Blaber up to 100 HP. Will they get the double up? Yes! Bang gets that kill as well. Stopwatch now forcing a Nisqy. It's a slight member lead for Evil Geniuses, but the health bars are high, and the damage is even higher. Cloud9 in a 3v4 for the first time, I think, all game definitively lose a team fight, but they get the inhibitor, and with 30 seconds till the Drake spawn, they'll have their team ready to fight for it.
Yeah, the Death's Dance ends up ticking out Licorice at the back of that, and that's a huge amount of shutdown gold that goes over to EG. They already have one upgraded Infinity Edge on Jiizuke, and can actually upgrade Bangs as well to get a little bit of extra gold value. We thought that was one of those go next moments, but it seems like there's a little bit of life left in EG if they can contest this Cloud fight, which I'm pretty confident we're going to see a brawl.
I think they're going to have to. I don't think you want to give Cloud9 the extra movement speed from Dragon Soul, from Cloud Soul. So it's C9 stepping up. They're going to take one more recall. They've still got that Baron buff. They're going to reset yet again there on Zven. Of course, he has teleport, finishes Nashor's Tooth, that goes for a bit more of an AP-focused build, more magic damage on hit. But he's ready to go as he clears up the mid lane.
All right. Well, EG's decided not to fight. They don't have Ornn or Nautilus ultimate, so I think they're going in. I wanted to bring up an interesting thing I just thought of about Nocturne and how this pick is actually more powerful now that we're playing LCS online rather than on stage. Because what happens during Paranoia is you only get to see about 600 units in front of your screen. Now, if you're playing online or in solo queue, pings still come through. So oftentimes someone will say like, on me, and they'll ping where the Nocturne ult is. If you're on stage, what a lot of players would do is they just look at their teammate's screen, because then they can actually see what's happening. It happens a lot on stage. It's one of the reasons Nocturne isn't necessarily a pro pick. But now with these players playing remote, you can't do that. So I actually think Nocturne increases a little bit in power in these circumstances, and it's maybe one of the reasons C9 is prioritizing it again.
Yeah, from what I can tell, the vast majority of teams are playing in their individual homes, not, let's say, you know, in the team packs environment or anything. They're fully staying at home there as well. So yeah, they don't have those tools. And here we go, Cloud9, they have waited out the Baron buff. That's gone. Bottom inhibitor is dead. Cloud Soul is in. That's another nice bit of power for them. And they're sieging now to the top side. No one's going to defend top lane tier 2. That's going to be an easy one. 7-0 by the way the turret score. EG have not gotten a single objective outside of kills all game long. No heralds, no Drake, no turrets. They have been kept on their side of the map 100% of the time. And now C9 ready to push in for the top inhibitor itself. A minute 30 or so on Baron. Decent enough time that you can play, and even if you die, you can still play for it again and you know, fight for the Baron. Jiizuke, gonna be the one to get all the farm, by the way. He's the one taking the bot lane. Every time the wave pushes in, he gets the gold, he gets the XP.
I mean, because EG has such good AoE damage with the MF ultimate and a potential Gragas Yasuo combo, there's still that small percentage chance that they find exactly the right fight. It's just going to be really hard. I mean, we got a stopwatch unused on Zven. We got the stone plate on Tahm Kench. We got the Zhonya's on Nisqy. If either of the stopwatch or Zhonya's aren't used properly and Vulcan is able to flash into range for a Devour, that's another way to save someone. And then you still do have that 6-kill Aatrox who can just unleash in the backline. The positive for EG, though, is if Jiizuke does get going in a team fight, he's got his items now. And Yasuo's DPS is just absolutely absurd this late in the game if he's actually able to have access and be able to auto-attack and Qs. So very small chance that EG, as we've been saying for about the past 15 minutes, is still...
Right. Yep, there is always a slim chance. If you play it perfectly, there's always the option to win. Just Cloud9 are so heavily favored down here that smart play ends the game. They're going to wait, actually, for the Baron buff. You saw a quick ult out of Vulcan, try to find a catch there towards Jiizuke or towards Svenskeren. Couldn't quite find that one, but that's okay. No harm, no foul. Not a hugely important, at least not hugely impactful ultimate mid-team fight. Now Baron is alive. Zven going to clear the mid lane without any issues. And once again, going to try to bait EG into them with better positioning. You can see, look at the fog of war. Look how little Evil Geniuses know about. They know top's pushed in. They know they're clearing mid. Then at some point, Baron's being hit, but can you look?
Yeah. They're not even thinking about it at this point. I think EG is kind of accepted that they're not going to take fights in the jungle because of Paranoia. So their strategy right now is let's just get as much random gold on a Jiizuke so that when C9 tries to push our base, where it's a little bit more of a controlled environment, we can go for it. I wonder actually if C9 is just going to go for Elder, or if they're actually willing, like I feel like they should be willing with this Baron buff and this gold lead to just go straight up in the middle. But that is kind of what EG is playing for. They're just waiting for them to enter, because if you wait for Elder Dragon, then C9 may be even stronger yet.
Yeah, it's weird because the absolute gold difference has flatlined at 9,000. And 9,000 means a lot at 27 minutes. It means a lot less at 37 minutes. When it's just, you know, relatively a smaller percentage of the gold difference. Like you're mentioning, you're already at 3-item Yasuo. We're at 3-item Misfortune. She's not too far away from Mortal Reminder, which would be another huge power spike. I don't think you really want to wait for those things to come through.
Yeah.
I personally would like to see C9 play a bit more aggressively. And then the last 20 seconds of Baron buff, claim the Elder Dragon with map control. But I want to see the inhibitor taken down.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at the items for C9, they're ready to go. The double Zhonya's, the double GA, and the Tahm Kench, there is no easy target for EG to actually kill. So they're going to move this wave up to the inhibitor. They might even do a little bit of a split push, and then I think they're going to go. Well, actually,
we got most of the squad down here in the bottom lane, and the Nocturne in mid. Blaber can always ult to join, so putting the members in the correct places. It is going to be a bit of a split push. Still over a minute and a half, or about a minute and a half left on the Baron buff. And an open inhibitor down here. Vulcan playing defense for Zven. If he gets attacked, just pull him back out to safety. Still waiting on the side is Jiizuke. Svenskeren also looking for it. They're going to fight over ward control to make sure they can't easily access backline. Kumo takes a bit of poke. He's still tanky.
And if EG ever commit too hard on a Blaber, Blaber just presses R and re-engages kind of back towards his side of C9 because he can dash to whatever target he wants. So slow split push, and here comes the ult. Expect Nocturne.
Trade of ultimates, looking for the plays in the front line. A lot of low health bars there. Zeyzal at half HP. Nocturne comes in, gets pushed right back out though, and chunked low, but spell shields away the brunt of the damage. And that's the engage stifled. That's EG now missing 2 of their major ultimates, and that should mean Nisqy feels fairly safe to now push in for the inhibitor itself. Licorice now moves to the mid lane to knock that one down, no problem. Nisqy is safe to keep autoing this. One more will kill the inhibitor. Has to respect Zeyzal going for the flash, trades his own flash for it. Gonna stay alive. Blaber once again wants in, can't find Kumo, but Licorice certainly can. Forcing the escape yet again. That's gonna be an easy inhibitor picked up, and Jiizuke has to put up the wall to not die, but it's still gonna be the first inhibitor dropped. The second time around, middle inhibitor gonna drop down as well, and top is being pushed in. They're ready to go for more, but looks like the Nexus turrets might be a bit juicier. Recalls come in yet again. They got the health bars back. Bang still feels a bit comfortable and has the ultimate
gonna
now.
fight.
Is about out of mana. He can't easily bullet time and cast more than one spell. This could be a bit dangerous. Look at the shut down Svenskeren. Where's his stopwatch? Nocturne pops ulti yet again. Here comes the re-engage. Bullet time over the top. Doesn't get a whole lot. Only Vulcan. There's one for 0. Guardian Angel pop, but they're going to chase down in a bang. Flashes away, stays alive. Looks back to Licorice, who finds a knockup on a Kumo. Jiizuke in the backline. 1 versus 3. Can't find it as Zven pops the stopwatch, but finds a knockup and runs away. Bang is still safely firing in the backside. Looking for the kill onto Nisqy. Can't get it though. So the 2 kills picked up. Zeyzal going to fall as well, and Jiizuke is against the world. Cloud9 don't lose a single member, and Yasuo going to do it all by himself. Gets a 3-man knockup, clears the wave. Doesn't matter. The Nexus turrets are under fire, and EG at least made him work for it, but Cloud9 going to take game 1 of the best of 5. Quick Bud is the end. Cloud9 take game 1.
When you look at the scoreboard at the end of it, 24 kills to 10, it doesn't look close. EG did make it a little bit competitive in the end, but that's mostly what we were expecting to see in terms of C9 dominance. That last fight, you could just see all of the anti-death tools they had accrued and how frustrating it was for Jiizuke to try and find a target. Knocks down 1 health bar. Nope, Guardian Angel's going to revive him. Gets close to another. Oh, Tahm Kench devours him. He comes out. Oh, by the way, he's got his Zhonya's because he's AP Varus. Just C9, they didn't rush it, but they were playing pretty well.
Yeah, overall played well. Credit to EG for the close fights they did have. It does give you some hope for an EG fan that they can pull this series a bit farther along, but it is a 1-0 looking most of the way people expected it to start. That does it for us here for game 1, but after a quick break, the State Farm Analyst Desk will break down how that game went. Don't go anywhere.
It's time for Assist of the Day, brought to you by State Farm. This assist is from our first 2020 LCS Spring Playoff match and set the pace of the series. It was only a handful of minutes before Cloud9's Blaber started to become 100 Thieves' worst nightmare. Hitting 6 just around the 6-minute mark, Blaber initiated bot lane and Cloud9 dove mercilessly under 100 Thieves' turret.
Houston? Brightness is increasing. There it is. Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Cars like this don't come around often. The redesigned Type R, the most powerful Civic ever, from Honda.
Hello and welcome back to the LCS postseason, where Cloud9 and Evil Geniuses are currently locked in battle for a best of 5 to move on to that finals match and a shot at hoisting the LCS trophy. Cloud9, though, gentlemen, just took game 1. As expected, I would have to say, with all three of you predicting the 3-0 in their favor today. But how do we feel about the overall challenge that Evil Geniuses made here against Cloud9 in game 1? Probably, when we look at game time specifically, this was one of Cloud9's slower postseason victories.
Yeah, I think they're slacking off.
Yeah.
They're complacent, and I'm not really impressed with them anymore.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it was still a really great game. I was expecting it to be faster. I think EG put up a pretty decent fight, even though some of their plays were just like flubbed on execution. Like the Yasuo Gragas kind of combination, like that kind of like high execution play that will kind of keep a game volatile. I was pretty surprised to see.
Now, there was a lot of action around the mid lane in this game, and Mark, I want to actually return to a conversation that we were having coming into the day around the mid lane matchup and the expectation for both of these guys, specifically Nisqy, Jiizuke, coming into this matchup.
Definitely. I mean, just looking at KDA, you're like, oh my god, Nisqy's so much better. But you need to realize C9 has had a ton of just insanely inflated KDAs because they never lose games. But Jiizuke has actually been kind of the workhorse engine for a lot of EG's early game. And what's interesting is he actually has a low jungle proximity difference. What this means is that the enemy jungler spends more time mid than his own jungler does. And so he does get a lot of leads, he does get a lot of resources, but it's often coming from infrequent at the correct time visits while the enemy jungler camps it, like we saw Santorin do in his previous matchup in quarterfinals. This time around with the Gragas Yasuo, you need to camp mid lane, and I think you can see they were not really able to execute on that better than Blaber and Nisqy, who are the best mid jungle duo in the entire league.
Right, Zeyzal, we flip-flop here to this graphic where we see the stats from game 1 on this mid lane matchup. Of course, that jungle proximity difference there, the stat that Mark was keying into, is on display here. Nisqy got more help.
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising when you think of, Nisqy having that Nocturne, which is more this kind of scaling jungler who isn't traditionally going to be spending a lot of time around his lanes in the early levels, but he still has the positive jungle proximity difference there because he knew he had to defend this Syndra. He had to keep Nisqy in the game and not allow Jiizuke to get ahead, because that is, kind of the central piece of Evil Genius's composition. But I've got to say, I think Jiizuke played really well in that laning phase overall. You can see how high his forward percentage was. He was being very aggressive. He looked comfortable on the pick. But so much of this game to me just came down to who had the better laners, right? We were, 4.5 minutes into the game, and Cloud9 were 1,000 gold up just off of CS. So despite the fact that EG never backed down, that they kept going at their opponent, that they, had their chances in some of these fights if they executed a little bit better, when you're always fighting from an advantage as Cloud9 is, you just win out on those close fights because you have more gold, plain and simple.
Yeah. And Zeyzal, it's funny because you look at that gold graph, and at that 10-ish minute mark, those early game minute marks that you're talking about, the gold difference doesn't look that large, but that's because by the end of the game, they were up 13.5K. And so it looks like a tiny amount there on that gold graph. But for those of you on ESPN, you're about to head to a quick commercial break. On the other side, you'll be joining us as we head into game 2. And then for those of you on Twitch and YouTube, stick around because we're going to keep breaking down that first game of the series. And gentlemen, when we talk about that first game of the series, outside of the mid lane, I think it is important to bring in both Blaber and Svenskeren into the conversation. Yes, we talk about the attention that they played to the mid lane, but let's talk about the way they affected the map as a whole. Blaber on that Nocturne, able to escape maybe some of the most, the scariest portions of the game, that early game, without any punishment, and then just rolls through with a quick level 6 and starts racking up the kills.
I mean, no one else is playing Nocturne, and he always manages to make it work. And you see how good it can be when it gets ahead, and how scared lanes have to play, even though they didn't execute that bot dive quite correctly. Like, you saw how much pressure that's putting on the whole rest of the map. And Blaber is so good about finding extra farm, picking it up from mid wave, so that he's actually hitting 6 at the same time, or even a little bit earlier than his own mid laner. Like, he's so good about that. The team sets him up well, and then he makes sure to follow through with his own big performance. But you saw that entire, damage graph for each player was pretty much 15,000 and up. Everyone on C9 is always contributing big damage numbers.
Let's talk about game 2 then real quickly, and maybe possible avenues for Evil Geniuses to come away with a victory, especially in light of maybe some of the things they exposed in game 1. Probably thoughts on where they can attack on the map. What worked in game 1 that they can continue? What didn't? What should they change?
Well, I thought their draft idea was really good. Taking Gragas early I think is smart, and Ornn as well, because I think all 3 games today, we're going to see Licorice with a gold lead. So putting your top laner on someone like Ornn, who can absorb the pressure and still be very relevant, I think is important. And then the Gragas takeaway, I think, is also very important because I think Svenskeren and Blaber is probably best champion. But this game, I think what we saw a bit was, even though Svenskeren was playing Gragas and he usually has a really big impact, all 3 lanes were at a deficit except for mid lane. But that's when the Yasuo pick came in, and I was kind of excited because you saw his forward percentage was 38%, I think. So take the mid laner and take the jungler and go move together, I think is really important. But again, we saw Jiizuke and Svenskeren don't have that much synergy together in the early game. So I hope they get slightly off that strategy of let's do Gragas Yasuo focus mid lane and get their bot lane out of laning phase. Because I think they need to get Zeyzal and Svenskeren to group up and make plays around the map instead of just trying to have a combo to beat the mid jungle like straight up.
Azale?
It was kind of interesting because it basically felt like EG tried to do what Cloud9 does, right? And they just, tried to go for the mid jungle 2v2. They were not playing kind of the scaling side lane 1-3-1 style team. They're drafting Ornn, Nautilus, Gragas, all for this Yasuo for the team fight. He's not building the Blade of the Rune King to split push. He's building the Infinity Edge and the PD, going for that team fight wombo combo. And then you are doing against Cloud9 what they have done all year and what they do better than anyone else in the league. So I will say I was a little bit disappointed in that choice because I think EG is a unique team in their own right and that Jiizuke has done the side lane type picks better than anyone else. So I would like to see them continue to go for that. Find more split pushers for Jiizuke, try to get them out to those side lanes, try to get them in their wheelhouse, playing the way that they play instead of trying to emulate Cloud9 because I don't think you're going to beat Jiizuke, if you're Jiizuke and Svenskeren, you're not going to beat Blaber and Nisqy at their own game.
Mark?
The only thing I'd want to throw in there too is the bot lane. I was surprised at how bad they were kind of losing already. I know Tahm, Kench, and Varus is one of the strongest lanes you can take in the bot lane, but I would like to see a little bit more powerful of a matchup, just so that they're not pushed in under their turret like they were for a large portion of that early game, as well as they did catch up a little bit off recalls and stuff like that, but they were down around 15-20 CS at different points of the laning phase, depending on when you stopped and looked at it. So Bang is such a critical part. I still think he played some team fights all right. It's kind of hard when there's a 4-0 Aatrox flying at your face. But I would like to see him set up a little bit earlier on.
So yeah, I was gonna say, but you still don't expect the bot lane to be a winning lane for Evil Geniuses. Is that
no?
Am I reading
I'm not
that
saying.
correctly?
Yeah, they don't need to play around it. I'm not saying camp for it, but just make sure you're even. You're staying even with Svenskeren, and you're not at a pressure deficit, so that they can come down and make plays. Because if you are down pressure, C9 will punish, and they messed them up this time, which is a big thing to note. That they did not blow the bot lane open like they wanted to with the Nocturne and stuff, but they tried, and you have to expect that C9 will be better about it in the future. So you need to step up as well.
I think the striking thing to me about the conversation we're having right now is it feels like both teams have a fair amount of flexibility across a number of roles, but that the major difference here in the conversation seems to be the top lane, actually, where Licorice, it feels like, has the ability to play kind of anything across the spectrum of top lane champions, but it feels like we think Kumo needs to rest within a specific set of champions in order to be successful, and that might actually make or break this series.
I mean, of course, you have the best top laner in the league versus, let's be honest, one of the bottom couple top laners in the league. This is a massive mismatch as far as player skills. So yes, Licorice is more flexible, but he's also just a better player. So you expect him to win out in any skill match. You expect him to dominate if he gets counterpicked. And as a result, as Kumo, you're going to try to play something that can take a bit of a beating and still have relevance later on. That's going to be things, like the Ornn, like a Set maybe, champions that are tough to really bully out and abuse. But it does give, C9 so much more flexibility. And I think that kind of thing also affects the bottom lane matchup that Mark is talking about. When you want to have a winning 2v2, or at least a 2v2 that can't get bullied on the top side, but you have to worry about having a winning mid jungle 2v2, because if you lose that, they're just going to roam down and crush you. You have to worry about your top laner getting counterpicked and slammed, because guess what? If Licorice slams there, they're going to move those advantages around the map. And that's what makes Cloud9 so damn hard to fight, because they win every lane and every player is expected to win every lane.
We all
they're more flexible than you.
Well, we knew it was going to be a tough one for Evil Geniuses if they were going to come away with 3 wins on the day. Let's see if they can get one in Game 2. They've shown us some makings of a team that can take down Cloud9. After this short break, we do return for the series and Game 2 between Cloud9 and Evil Geniuses. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm married. Doesn't matter. You do that for me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis? Hey, do they ever ask you what you're wearing?
Yeah.
Red sweater, button-down shirt. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.